Hello and welcome. In this episode, we will talk about how virtualization enables cloud services. Like how virtualization is the most important concept for any service running on cloud. Well, let's start with it. Virtualization is a process of creating multiple virtual instances, such as virtual machines, virtual storage, from a single physical machine. So it runs on the actual physical machine, especially in the data center. These virtual instances act independently of each other, but they are sharing the same physical resource from the host machine. So they do live in isolated bubble, but they share the resource from the single physical server. So that means one physical server can run multiple virtual instances. It all depends on how much resource that physical server can actually provide. So this capability makes it possible to optimize cloud resources and enable scalability, the core of cloud computing. Key benefit of virtualization. Well, the first one is resource optimization. In very simple word, it means squeezing out all the performance there is from a physical server so that you are more productive and making money. But let's be formal here. Virtualization maximizes the use of physical hardware by allowing multiple virtual machines or virtual instances to run on a single physical server. This means that businesses don't need to buy and maintain extra or additional hardware, which can be costly. The next one is isolation. Each virtual machine operates independently. This isolation enhances both security and flexibility, as issues within one virtual machine won't affect the other virtual instance in the same host. Right? So this simply means if one virtual machine is affected by something, yes, the other virtual instances don't care about that. Until unless the actual host have some issue, virtual instances live by their own. Scalability. With virtualization, you can easily scale resources up or down as needed by the organization. For example, when the demand increases, additional virtual machines can be deployed on the fly without needing new physical hardware. It will consume the host resources. Yes, there is a catch. If the host resources are limited, then eventually you may have to spill over. But overall, it will use the host machine properly first. The next is cost efficiency. By consolidating workloads onto fewer and fewer physical servers, virtualization reduces the need for expensive hardware and the associated power needs or energy and maintenance cost as well. Which means if 5 servers can run 100 instances, then businesses can use those 100 instances to make money, to run business, to be productive. There is no need to buy more hardware. All right, you're consuming all the resources from those machines first. So that is your cost efficiency. Now, how virtualization support cloud? There are some topics here which we will discuss. Virtualization plays a crucial role in enabling core cloud features like elasticity, multiple tenancy, means isolated bubbles, and DR, disaster recovery. Let's go through the first one, elasticity. Virtualization allows for dynamic allocation of resource, means on-the-fly allocation of resource, enabling the cloud to automatically adjust to changing demands. For instance, if an application experiences a traffic spike, The cloud can quickly spin up additional virtual machines or containers to handle that load. So that is your elasticity. The next is multiple tenancies or multiple tenants. With virtualization, a single physical infrastructure can be shared by multiple customers who are not even related. Those customers can also be called as tenants. All can be done while ensuring data isolation, security, and performance. This shared resource model is a foundational concept of public cloud environment. This is how Azure makes money from multiple customers. The next is disaster recovery. Virtualization provides significant DR benefits, disaster recovery benefit. For example, virtual machines can be snapshotted, means you can take snapshot, whether it is a full snapshot, and then you can take incremental snapshots, or you can even take backup, whatever your strategy is. All right, but now, in case of any disaster, these snapshot or backups can be reverted, means you can get your data back in case of any failure or data loss. So this is how virtualization can help you in DR. Now let's look at some types of virtualization, whether it is hardware virtualization, operating system, and more. So first, we will go with hardware virtualization. Over here, you can see that we have VMs, we have hypervisor. We will talk about it. Before we go to hypervisor, let's talk about VMs. But remember, they are connected. So how can you define virtual machine? Well, virtual machines allow an organization to deploy multiple operating systems to run on a single physical host machine. Virtual machine, as it says in the name, is acting like a virtual, a pseudo computer. But it is software driven, means there's logic behind it. It is also isolated. So this isolation makes it possible to use resources more efficiently and in a secure way. The next thing is hypervisor. What is hypervisor? The hypervisor is the actual software layer that enables the hardware virtualization. It manages the virtual machine by controlling how a VM, a virtual machine, access the physical hardware. Hypervisor comes in two types. The types are very simple. The names are type 1, type 2. Yes, type 1 and type 2. This is what it is. Now, what is the difference? Well, let's go with type 1. Type 1, also known as bare metal, it runs directly on the hardware, offering better performance. So think about a software which is installed directly on the hardware and it communicates with the kernel directly. That is type 1. And on this hypervisor, you can run your virtual instances. Then type 2, also known as hosted hypervisor. This type of hypervisor typically runs on top of an existing host operating system, which means you have a computer with hardware. There's a kernel which talks with the hardware. It's a middleman. Then on top of it, you have Windows 10 or Windows 11, which is your operating system. This is your host operating system, right? And on top of that, you install a hypervisor like VMware Workstation, Parallels. I think there is a Wineglass for Apple, Fusion, Oracle Box, so many. That is your type 2 hypervisor. Now, before we move forward, let's talk about some key benefits as well. So the key benefit of hardware virtualization is that it maximizes or it squeezes out physical resources by running multiple independent operating systems on the same hardware. Which one is faster? You think about it. Type 1 or type 2? I will give you 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you think type 1 is faster, then you're right. Type 1 is actually more efficient because it runs directly over the hardware, it talks directly to the kernel. There is no host operating system in between. But type 2 is still famous because it is more user-friendly. If you don't like it, you can uninstall it. Plus, you can also do other activities on your host machine. So it gives more flexibility. All right? Now let's move to OS virtualization. Well, over here we'll talk about containers. Unlike VMs, unlike virtual machines, containers allow applications to run in an isolated environment within a single operating system. Containers share the host kernel, but they have their own user space, making them a very lightweight and faster to deploy small instances of compute. So think about it, container like a box, which only have the resources which are required to run something. No fluff, nothing else. It's a very purpose-driven compute unit. And that is why it is lightweight. Because it is lightweight, it will be fast. Because it is lightweight, it can be deployed on the fly. All right? So containers make a lot of sense for business continuity, just because of that. Now, as we discussed lightweight, since containers use fewer resources compared to a full-blown virtual machine, they are often quick and efficient and require less overhead. Awesome for DR, business continuity, and large-scale deployment. Like if you want something to scale very fast, containers are a better choice compared to VMs. Now, the key benefit of operating system virtualization. Well, the most awesome benefit is faster deployment and lower resource overhead. It makes it ideal for microservices and other scalable cloud-native applications. Microservices means, it's in the name, small, purpose-driven services. The next is network virtualization. Software-defined virtualization, you can also say that. Now, with network virtualization, the entire software-based network can be created that span across multiple physical devices. These networks can be dynamically adjusted to optimize performance according to business needs. There is a term called SDN, software-defined networking. Software-defined networking actually centralizes the control of network, allowing administrator or business to manage it programmatically, means with some scripts or GUI interface. This improves the flexibility and scalability of cloud network and allows for real-time adjustment based on demands. In simple words, remember, it is software-defined networking, but the core is just like a normal network. So all the principles you learned in your CCNA is still applicable here. It behaves like a normal network, but the logics are defined by software. Now, what is the key benefit of network virtualization? Well, it provides flexibility, scalability of the network with enhanced control and security. It simplifies the network management and makes it easier to adapt to changes on the fly. So this is what it actually brings to the table. Now, one more time, as a revision, key benefit of hardware virtualization. As we have seen, virtualization offers several significant advantages for cloud computing environment. First, resource optimization allows multiple virtual machines to run on a single server, maximizing hardware usage. Next is isolation, ensuring each virtual machine runs independently, enhancing security and reducing the risk. Next is scalability. Virtual environments can be quicker to scale up or down to meet your demand and spikes. Next is cost effectiveness. Virtualization reduces hardware needs and operational cost by consolidating workloads into fewer physical servers as possible. Next is elasticity. Provides flexible and dynamic approach to your infrastructure, especially on demand. Next is multi-tenancy. We will do summary later. So multi-tenancy. It supports shared infrastructure without compromising security or performance, allowing multiple customers to use the same hardware. Next advantage is DR, disaster recovery. It ensures quick recovery by replicating virtual machine or containers and creating backups to protect against data loss. So these were all the benefits of using virtualization, whether it is hardware virtualization, operating system virtualization, or network virtualization. They all provide the same benefits. Now we can summarize it. So in summary, virtualization is an essential technology in cloud computing. It enables businesses to run multiple virtual instances on a single physical machine. It optimizes the resource usage, improves security, scalability, and overall it reduces the cost. But there's a catch there. The various types of virtualization, whether it is hardware virtualization, operating system virtualization, and network virtualization, they all help the cloud environment to become more efficient, flexible, and secure. By using virtualization in the cloud, organizations can create a dynamic multi-tenant environments that are highly resilient and scalable. This makes it easier to handle workloads of various size and complexity without relying on expensive physical infrastructure on-prem. So, thank you for tuning in. In the next episode, we will dive into more services and functionality of cloud computing. I'll see you then. Take care.